Okay, so today I'm going to do a tutorial on cooking something fast in the Instapot, because even though we homestead, I still work 40 hours a week, and when I get home from work, I'm tired sometimes and I just want to cook something. Even though the food is fresh, the Instapot is one of the most wonderful things. If Ma Ingalls could have had an Instapot, would have been a great thing. So let me turn the camera. So here's my Instapot. It's just a regular Instapot. I bought it at Walmart. Cost me like $90. I just got this design on it because I like the Pioneer Woman. But it has all of the features. It has the feature of being a rice cooker, a pressure cooker, a crock pot, and you can even use the saute feature on it here too. So what we're gonna make tonight is something simple. It takes probably under 15-20 minutes. I call it Gabby's spaghetti. A girl from work, another nurse that I work with, she gave me the recipe and I was like, beautiful. So I have a pound of ground turkey here with some cut up onions and garlic, with some bell peppers from the yard, with some kosher salt and some herbs from the yard. So in here I have basil, holy basil, parsley, and thyme. Then I have some loose leaf basil. I always like to throw that in at the end. With 1 pound of spaghetti that I just took the pound and I just cut it in half like this. Okay, kind of spilled there, sorry. And then I have my homemade pasta sauce from the tomatoes from my garden. And then I have some homemade beef broth that I made from a roast that I had last night. So basically what you're gonna do to start out is you're going to turn the pot on. I can pull this off finally. And hit saute here. And it'll let you know how many seconds here. It says 30 seconds. Usually takes about that much to go ahead and get warm at the bottom. And once it gets warm at the bottom, there it goes, it says on. You're gonna add a little bit of cooking oil. I add olive oil here. Some olive oil here that I bought at Sprouts. I always try not to use vegetable oil. I just add a little bit of it in there, not much. Just play it by ear, by sight, however you wanna call it. And you can put it in there. And then I'm gonna add my garlic and my onion first, so that way it can start to just cook there. Just put it all in there. You can let it warm up a little bit more too if you want to. And then once it starts to warm, you'll hear it starting to sizzle a little bit. You just kind of warm it around in here like that. And then once they get a little caramelized, not too much, just caramelize them a little bit, then you can add the ground turkey, ground beef, ground pork, whatever suits you, whatever it is that you like to use. I just happen to have a little bit of ground turkey there, so that's what I'm using. Okay, as you can see now, our onions have started to caramelize. Let me back up the camera because it's gonna fog up. They started to caramelize here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that 1 pound of ground turkey in there and just kind of break it up a little bit. And then you're just gonna wait for it to cook. There, I'm sorry if you hear noise in the background. My 2 teenagers are playing a video game and they're being a little loud, but that's the family life for you, that's the mom life. And then I just usually do just a pinch of salt, kosher salt in there, just a pinch of it there, and then I'm gonna let it cook. And then when the meat starts to get nice and brown is when I'm gonna add the herbs. For me, because I don't want the herbs to get kind of burnt with this, so let me let the meat get nice and brown. So we'll give it a few minutes to get nice and brown. And then actually let's add the bell pepper now, because the bell pepper can go right in with the meat to give it that flavor. Let's add the bell pepper. Just a little bit of yellow diced up bell pepper from the yard. What's left of my bell peppers, not too much. And just kind of chop the meat finely like this. And just chop it up. Okay, and let's give it a few minutes to get nice and golden brown. Okay, you can see that the meat has gotten nice and brown. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my little cup of herbs in here. They're all from the garden. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of stir it around in there too. Fresh herbs. Okay. And then I have some homemade pasta sauce that I have, what was left of my tomatoes here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in this pasta sauce here. It's kind of chunky. I like it a little chunky. And just kind of spread it out like this. Kind of evenly spread it out. Kind of scrape anything off of the edges there. Nice and evenly, see if you can. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my spaghetti, but I'm not just going to glump it in. I just kind of try to put it like this a little bit, one way. And then when I put the other one in, maybe the other way, so they don't all end up glumping together. And I usually do a pound because I use the spaghetti the next day to take it to work, to eat for lunch, and leave it for the kids when they're here at school when I'm at work. So, okay, and now I'm gonna add some of this homemade broth that came from my roast that I made last night. So I usually eyeball it. I would say about 2 cups should be sufficient enough. So I'm gonna put maybe half in here. Half of this bowl. That's actually a little more than half of this ball jar because there's a little more spaghetti. Maybe about almost 3/4 of this ball jar. It's probably about 2 1/4 cups. That's what I'm gonna say. And then you can just kind of look in there and see that there is moisture in there, so that way it doesn't go on the burn mode, the Instapot. Okay, maybe just a little bit more. Just kind of have to kind of eyeball it. And so I would say probably, maybe because of the amount of spaghetti that I'm using for a pound, I would probably put 3 cups just to be safe, because you don't want it to end up saying burn. The pot will come out and say burn when it's not. So this, and just kind of even it out however you can. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and move everything out of the way here. Put this Instapot on here. Kind of hard to do things with my left hand here. Turn it, put this back to pressure. You're gonna hit cancel. You're gonna hit pressure cook, and you're gonna go down. I'm gonna do it for 12 minutes. 12 minutes, okay? And there it is, and just always make sure that this is to the pressure point, that way so it doesn't steam out everywhere. Let's turn the other way. So there, it's going on. And then it will give you the time that you have left, whatever time. If you have 10 minutes left, if you have 5 minutes left, and when it's done, we'll open it up and see what's in the Instapot. So I'm coming out here, I'm making the Gabby's spaghetti in my Instapot, and I'm gonna grab some lettuce here. My kids would like a salad tonight, so I'll add some red onion to this butterhead lettuce. We'll put this in here. And this one is another kind of leafy lettuce. I don't know what it is, but this one looks like we better start. We don't want it to get too bitter, so we better eat it now. So I'll cut this up for dinner. We'll have this. I have some bell peppers left still from the plant back there, and I'll get some of these cherry tomatoes. We'll put them in there with some olives and some tomatoes and some spaghetti. That'll be our dinner. Okay, so the Instapot is done. So we're gonna release. Just take a little to the side to release the pressure. And take just a few seconds for that. It'll, when this is completely done, then it'll be good. Okay, so the Instapot is done, so we can turn off the lid and take it off. And there is our spaghetti. The meat is at the bottom. All you do is just kind of turn it around. There's your spaghetti. There's your dinner. Put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on there. I'm gonna make a salad. I got some greens from the garden. And you can see the meat at the bottom. You just turn it around like this, and there, noodles are cooked and everything. Okay, so there is our meal, maybe 15 minutes. And then I did go out to the garden and get some lettuce. I will be making a salad for us with some green onion and some red onion and some olives and some ranch dressing, and we're good to go. And the sunflower is for me. It's my favorite flower. That concludes my Gabby's Spaghetti Instapot dinner. Easy, fast, and everything was kind of fresh except for the pasta. It was not from the garden, but the vegetables were. The broth was from a roast that I had made. The herbs were from the garden. The bell pepper was from the garden. And I got me this beautiful sunflower here that I'm going to be putting in my kitchen tonight. It's my favorite flower. Good night. Good homesteading. So here is our pasta, some fresh basil, and our salad from our garden with a little bit of queso fresco actually. And here's Reina. She's gonna have dinner. Look up, Reina.